Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Wuthering Waves. You are here on this video because I know you're a dirty sweat like me who loves rerolling, plays a game for 2 weeks, then drops it, but enjoyed all 40 hours of your rerolling process. Also, we're doing a giveaway in this video, $100 giveaway. Be subscribed, leave a comment, and you'll go into the draw. We're going to be doing a series of these giveaways over the launch of the game. We do have another one ongoing on my tier list video, so if you want to go join that draw, you can as well. Once again, be subscribed, leave a comment, you're in. I'll announce the winner about a week away in a community post. In this one, we're going to be talking about who to reroll for, and I will have another video out before the launch that goes through the process of rerolling, because there's like about 2 to 3 different processes over 2 to 3 different time spans on the way you want to reroll. But I've been having some thoughts about the characters to reroll for, and I wanted to go through that in this video with you guys, so you guys know who you want to go for. And obviously, prefacing this, I will tell you who I am personally going for on my optimal reroll, and that is going to be Jian Jin. I don't know how to say her name, the Kung Fu Panda girl. Not because she is the best. A lot of people won't recommend her. I just think she is a cool character, really fun, and really enjoyable to play through the entire game for. That is why I'm choosing her. Plus, I have some big brain strats in my tiny brain that are exploding out that I want to test with her. So that is why I'm going for her. And I'm telling you this just to say, pick whoever you like. If you like the look of a character, if you like the playstyle of a character, go ahead and pick that character, because at the end of the day, you guys know the drill. It's a game. You're supposed to have fun. But if you do want to metaslave, good on you too. So let's get into it. The first one, Jian. This guy is, if you're rerolling for Jian, you are a super sweat. That's the category for him. Basically, we only get you per reroll at the moment. It's looking like you're only going to get 2 pulls that you can do on his banner on day 1. If that's you, that's you. I ain't going to stop you. Something is popping up about Windows on my other screen, and I'm just going to hit remind me later. If you want to do 2 pulls and reroll for 35 to 45 minutes to do 2 pulls on him, hey, you are my hero. But there will be another strategy where you've got to like make a bunch of accounts on day 1, come back 2 days later, and then you finally get to collect in the mail your extra 10 pull, and then you can chuck that into those ones. So there will be a delayed way to go for him. But either way, if you do go for Jian, you are the super sweat, and that is what you are. But hey, if you want to, just know it's going to be hell, but it is a possibility. For most people, I would recommend not going for Jian, because that sounds like absolute pain. However, if you do a bunch of rerolling on the other methods, and then 2 days in, you're like, oh, the extra 10 pulls in all those other accounts that I went for, you can just log back to them and see how you go. So I think he is either super sweat, or just like, you know, I come back a couple days later and see how we went with all my failed rerolls. The next one. Now, this one I have a hot take on, but I think Verena is a skip on the reroll, because you want to get her, skip, and get her from selector. What the fuck is going on with that? I mean, it still doesn't look right. I don't know what's going on with tier list maker, but that'll do us. The reason I say that is because when you start the game, we all know you're eventually going to get 2 characters. You're going to get the one that you reroll for. You can do a reroll for 3 character method as well, which is even more on top of that. But basically, when you reroll, you're going for a character, and then the other one that you want is ideally going to come from your selector. The problem with the selector is it takes a long time. And if you're rerolling, and like I've said in previous video, I think she's a fantastic character that everyone should get on their account. My reason I don't recommend rerolling for her is I recommend rerolling for any one of these other characters that you want to have as your other main character, because they will be like a damage-centric character that you can then enjoy the initial start to the game with and get through everything, exploring the world. Because remember, at the start of the game, exploring the world is important. Endgame stuff isn't important. Getting through, killing echoes, leveling up your Pokedex so that you can get better echoes is going to be a very important thing. And she's going to be the worst starter unit to do that. Now, having said that, if you want to like main Danjin as your main DPS, well then go ahead, yes. If you get Verena, go ahead and pick her up. But in general, I think Verena is one that if you get her on a reroll, and you keep rerolling and you don't get the DPS you want, then you can come back to that one. It just depends on how much you want to reroll. But in general, I think she is a skip for the reroll and pick up from the selector, because by the time you get that selector done, you're going to have progressed through a lot of the game, unless you get it early. And so you want, I highly encourage people getting through that early part of the game with a character that they really enjoy, because no one's, I mean, someone might be, I don't think there's many people maining Verena, like, as in, like, that's the main character they want to play as, and that's where they're going to get their fun. Most people are picking her because she's, like, the meta support choice. So that is why I recommend getting her from the selector instead of actually rerolling for her, so that you can play through the early parts of the game with a character that's going to make that process a lot more enjoyable. Next up, Kelcharo. If you are saving for Yinlin, then get him. Then he is Yinlin Savers. There we go. Yinlin Savers. Kelcharo is like a no-brainer. He's going to be fantastic. Also, best DPS, or like, you know, like best DPS of the options that we have from the standards. And he's single target focus. But wait, let's play it safe. Let's go great DPS. But keep in mind, to maximize his damage, like, he's got insane damage potential, but his windows are super tight. Massive shout out to the theory crafting team over at Pridewin. They've gone through all the numbers and timings and stuff with me, and like, I honestly don't think I'll be able to play him, because I looked at the timing that they had on what you've got to do with these clicks, and then I watched some people on YouTube playing him, and like the times are super tight, and a lot of people ain't making those times just in their general play, but once you super sweat on him, you'll probably be able to get those timings. But just keep in mind, he has incredible DPS potential. He's going to be amazing with Yinlin. He is more single target focused, but he does have very tight windows. That's just what we know so far. Once again, that could change, but in general, if you're pulling for Kelcharo, I think he is a very safe option for anyone, because he's going to be great DPS in general. And especially, once again, if you're thinking about going for Yinlin, I don't see a reason not to go for him. Yinlin can support others, but she just hyper supports him into making him incredible as well. So that is what I reckon about him. Moving on from that, we have Encore, who is another just... I want to say good DPS. Good DPS option. I think Encore's in a weird position where some people, if you like her, she's great to pick up. And if you don't want to get as sweaty in the mechanics, like, she does have complex mechanics. I'm not going to say she's easy, but she's more forgiving to misplays. When I look at the damage calculations on where her damage comes from, if you miss timing on Kelcharo and miss like his last heavy attack in his ult window, he's going to lose a lot more damage output than what Encore does if she misses the last couple things in her combo, because she's basic attack focused heavily, meaning that, you know, you get a good and chunky damage even with misplays. So I think she's pretty friendly like that. She does have the range. She's got the changing into melee with the ult. She is a really cool character, and she is a good DPS option to pick up if you want to go ahead and pick up that DPS option. Also, I think she's going to synergize super well with Senhua, who is another character that I absolutely love in this game as a 4-star, and I think she would be a great combo to pair with her if you are looking at something like that. But in general, if you do like Encore, don't feel bad about pulling for her. I think she is a great option. The next one we're going to go into is Ling Yang, and this guy is pretty much the cause you like him is why you're going to pull for him. I can argue Encore over him just purely on the feel of playing them, and also the damage output calculated at the moment. Once again, this stuff could change. But like, I personally find this guy to be clunky, the way he goes up, then it has weird hitboxes, and then weird to maneuver. Skill issue on my part, yes. So once again, it's a game, have fun. If you think he is great, and you love the look of him, and you want to master his playstyle and be like, oi, pleb Vulcan, you said he was bad and clunky. This is how he's meant to play. Do that, like 100%. This is just my personal opinion, but based on what I'm seeing from calculations, he is not up there in the DPS. With something like Kelcharo or Encore, he is the lowest of that bunch, so keep that in mind. Then finally, we have my personal choice, which is Jian Jin. I suck at saying names. I do apologize if I'm butchering this, but hey, it is what it is. So, my personal pick, I'm going to put her as the boomer's best friend. If you're not stressed about super sweating, she is just one of those comfortable characters that's fairly simple to play. and fairly safe to play. She's got a basic black hole vortex that groups everything up, which is fantastic. She has a very long charge time of like 6 seconds on charging she basically generates chi over time, and then she can charge attack where she does like AoE damage and then generates a massive shield, but it has like a really long cast time, and that's like her big downfall in max DPS calculations. I do think, now don't quote me on this and say Vulcan said this is just one of those ones where I'm putting it out there in the ether, and if it ends up coming true, I'll be like, hey, I told you so. But if it doesn't, I'll be like, no, I said this is just like a cracked theory, so just don't rely on it. But I do think that eventually someone will find a way that she will be actually really strong. I do think that when we look at like a lot of stuff, because we don't all have the game, a lot of stuff is based on theory crafting and calculations, which don't take entirely into account practicality. The black hole she has is insane in grouping enemies. I think she is going to be very valuable for that. I also think there will be different ways of playing to what is base calculated, and I think for boomer friendly teams, I think she's actually going to be really, really nice to put in, because a lot of the other rotations you will see that are calculated and stuff like that are not straight rotations where you go from one character into the other character into the other character and then rotate it through. It's often like you do your DPS burst, you swap into your healer, you swap back to your DPS, you swap back to your healer, you swap into your hybrid or sub DPS, and then you swap back into your main DPS for burst window. They are very complex, and there is a lot of timing, and when you're also trying to pay attention to mechanics and stuff like that, I think it gets hard. And I think if we simplify that into leaving your in-between character on the field for longer to generate concerto, I think she could actually fall into that one where, compared to misplays, having a simple play style could actually be very beneficial. So I do think she will have that viability, but like I said, she is just a great all-round unit, especially for exploring the overworld in your first few days of play. She makes things fantastic. She has the great grouping, she has great AoE, you're never going to worry about dying, and she's just super easy for it. And I'm an old man myself. I'm turning 35 this year. I ain't trying to break records on responsiveness and stuff like that. So I think she's going to be a fantastic one for me personally. Like I said, I also love her playstyle and think she's really cool. So that is why she's the one I'm going for. But once again, a lot of people will recommend to avoid her, I think, which is perfectly valid based on what we know so far. But I do think that more stuff will come to light, and I hope we do see her actually shine in the future, because these games, when we go before launch, it happens in all these games, there becomes like a set thing that everyone expects and like everyone regurgitates. But I do think there is room for some of this stuff to change. But once again, based on what we have, a lot of people probably would avoid her, but I think she's cool. I'm complete copium because I like her and I want her to be good. So, maybe just ignore me as well. But that is my thoughts. Super sweats are going for Gian. For bloody what's her face, sorry, for Verena, dude, I hate the names in this game so much. They are just such a blur. Besides like Mortefi and Encore and Calcharo, everything is just a blur in my head of names. But yeah, for Verena, I think she is an amazing unit. Everyone wants her on everyone will want a copy of her, but I think you're better off getting her from the selector so you can play through the game with a DPS, which is a lot more fun in my opinion. But once again, if you do a bunch of rerolls and never hit the DPS you want, but you do have a Verena in there, you can always go back to it and just play through that one and just do the slog in the early game if you want to. Then once again, Calcharo, Yinlin Savers, or people who want to be the quote-unquote meta slaves on top DPS and you're willing to put in the work to make him work. Encore, just a great DPS option if you think she looks fun. I think you perfectly valid in going ahead and getting her. We got Boomer's best friend over there in Jianjin, who is the one I am going for. And then, Yangling, I think that's his name. Dude, once again, the names are horrible. If you like him, go for him. Cool. Happy days. You'll still have fun. Anyway, guys, that is going to be it for this one. As always, thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing the next one. Cheers.